So as I was saying, I was talking about the purpose of test case and the benefits, and so let's move on. So a test case in software testing is a document that consists set of conditions or steps designed to verify if a particular feature or functionality in a software application is working as expected. So it defines the input, the actions, and expected results for a specific test scenario to ensure the software behaves correctly under various conditions. A test case typically includes information like the test case ID, the description, the steps, the preconditions, input data, execution steps, expected outcome, and any preconditions or cleanup required. So this is like basically the summary of everything. I love this definition so much. It will basically just put everything together. So we now like try to break everything here down practically. But first, let's run through this our slide. So writing effective test cases, attributes, the structure, the qualities, clear IDs so that you can identify each test cases, concise description, precondition steps, expected results, actual results, test status. Then the structure, organized and repeatable steps, easy to understand, well documented. Qualities is verifiable, is maintainable, and usable for regression testing. Yeah. So after you've tested, some pass, some fail, the one that fail, you communicate it, they fix it, you come back to your test cases and test again. That's regression testing until everything pass. Maybe not necessarily everything, like the most important ones passes. Now, test case execution best practices, environment setup, prepare the testing environment with the required configuration. This depends on your organization, basically. So there are different environments for tests. So I think I mentioned it in one of our classes that the three that me I'm familiar with is like development environment. This is where when developers done their own push, this is where they push everything to. So testers normally test there. And then there's staging environments. So staging environment is believed to be more stable than development environment in the sense that it's meant to be a mirror of your production environment. Production environment is your life environment where outside your organization have access to. This is where people actually interact with your software. Okay, now let's continue. Data setup. So what the data you'll be using while doing your testing? Like, let's say you are testing a school software and you'll be creating student data. All those random names that you'll be using, email, address, those are test data. Then execution. Follow test case steps and record the actual results. Verification. Compare results against the expected outcome. So when you are writing your test cases, your expected outcome is that, oh, when I input the name of a school, the address, and the whatever other data, the expected outcome is that I create a school successfully. So when you do your actual test, what is the result? You record it. So that's verification. Compare results against the expected outcome. Report any failures. So web application testing examples. So login functionality. So when you are generating your test cases, you have to be conscious that you are not just generating test cases for just positive scenarios. You have to do a lot of edge cases. In fact, that's why you're a tester. Anybody can do the normal, just Just the normal testing, just run through the application. Does it pass? Does it fail? Was I able to click this button? Was I able to log in? But you as a tester, this is why you are special. Like you have to like bring in your own creativity now, your intuitiveness now. What if I don't even put any password? What will happen? What if I put in correct password? What will happen? What if I do this? What if I just enter some random things inside the password field? Does the application accept it? You have to think like, some users that can be very funny. You have to think like a user. Like, if a typical user see this application now, what would they do? What is the craziest thing that can happen? You have to come up with all those scenarios. So, shopping cart functionality, add or remove items, update quantities, calculate total cost, checkout. These are things you will look at one by one. Valid or invalid credentials, password recovery, account lockout, search functionality. Like, let's say in your application that you are testing, you can search. You try to search the exact word for word. Like, let's say you are searching, let's say it's a shopping web application, and they say you can search. You try to search for Skyron washing machine. Like, can you see it? What if you only type Sky? What will happen? What will the application bring out? What if you just put SK? Will you say not found? Will you say so? These are the scenarios that you break it down one by one. Advanced filter, search result displays, and all. Now, so this is like a typical test case example. Now, when I'm talking about test cases, so it depends on your organization and depends on you. There are tools that you can use actually. You can use Excel. So when you are using Excel, this test scenario will be like a column. Test steps will be a column. Prerequisite will be a column. Browser will be a column. Test data will be a column. Expected or intended result will be a column. Actual result will be a column. Test status will be a column. So under them, each row, now you now put each of your test cases. So test scenario, let me see if I can open my Excel here. I'm not using Windows, so it might kind of look strange, but let me still open it nonetheless. But I'm not sharing my own screen, so it's only the slide we will see until I share. But before then, let me just go through it. So test scenario in this our case here is to authenticate a successful user login on gmail.com. Test steps. The user navigates to gmail.com. The user enters the register email address in the email field. The user clicks the next button. The user enters the registered password. The user clicks sign in. Prerequisite, a registered Gmail ID with a unique username and password. So before you can do this, the requirement is that you must have registered your Gmail ID and you have your username and password, which is your email and password. So the browser we are using in this case, we are using Google Chrome version 86, the device, Samsung Galaxy Tab X7. It can be your laptop, it can be any device. Test data, legitimate username and password. Expected results. Once username and password are entered, the web page directs to the user inbox, displaying and highlighting new emails at the top. This is what we are expecting, provided everything goes well. So now your actual result is what actually happened when you run that test. When you actually go to the browser, you enter gmail.com, you put in the email address, you put in the password, what happened? If an error occur, this is where you put it that, oh, this also happened. It didn't happen as expected. Then test status, either pass or fail. So moving on, test management tools. So reporting, generate detailed report on test execution status. So after you've executed all your test cases, you know the one that passed, the one that failed. So you now generate your own reports and the one that failed, what makes it fail? Like, did you take screenshot? Did you screen record your screen while you are doing it? So all the evidence to pass to the developers that will fix it or to stakeholders to know, oh, this thing actually fails because this is one of the most tricky part of software testing. You might actually meet some very interesting developers. I'll call them interesting so that they can say, oh, this thing that I reported as bug is not bug, it's working. This, that. So this, you start doing back and forth. No, it's not working, it's working. So you have to gather all your evidence, your screenshots, your screen record. And this is one of the things that they will ask you during your interview. That was your relationship with the developer. You are not meant to be fighting developers. You are working towards the same goal. So don't argue with them. Just put your evidence on the table. That's it. Tracking, different tracking and test execution progress. So we have different tools for this also. Example of it is Jira. So on your own, you can sign up on Jira, play around it. If you have been reading some requirements, some job description, you will be seeing all this different tracking, like the tools you've used before. There are a lot of them. Jira is very common. There's ClickUp, there's TestNG. I've used ClickUp, I've used Jira. They are just tools. So basically, you can use any one of them. Don't let anything scare you that, oh, I've not used this thing before. They are just tools. They are just means to an end. You can use any of these things. They are very intuitive. Organization. So centralized test cases and test plan. So all your test cases should not be scattered. You should like be organized. As a QA person, you have to be very, very organized. I cannot emphasize this more than enough. So now, the example of test cases that are okay, this one. Let's assume that I want, I want to put this in an Excel sheet. How it will look like. What Excel look like on my own laptop. I'm using Linux operating system. So I'll say test scenario. This thing can be customized in any way. It's very, very up to you, actually. There's no one way street to it. And my test scenario is that I want to authenticate a successful user login on gmail.com. Test scenarios too. Oh, even me, I'm not used to use my Excel. Okay, let's run test. I want to make it more readable. So, yeah. Okay. So now my test ID, which is like the first thing, test case ID. And I have my test steps. And after that, I have my prerequisites. What is that? Okay. Okay. I have my test data. Still want us to run something inside the browser, so I'm trying to. I'll just with this short as possible so that we can go to the browser. Then my expected results, and actual results. Then test status. So my advice to you, learn Excel. Like know how to do and undo in Excel. Basic things in Excel, create row, create columns, give it color, all those things, drop downs, wrap tests. You can go at like go further as time goes on, like writing formulas and stuff. But you need to know Excel actually. This can at least should be able to create document and do all those stuff. They might use other tools too. Excel is not the only thing for test cases. There are actually good tools out there. So my test case ID, I can formulate any ID that this is the first one, 001, my test steps. Uh, trying to copy this. I don't want to type on it one by one. User navigate to gmail.com. Yep. The prerequisite is that you register email and password. Okay. Test data. So this is your test data. You can actually put the actual email that you want to log in. I'll just say, I'm just going to put something. And then let's say your password is password 1234. So this is just example, right? That's your test data. The expected result is that once you enter your username and password, you should see your Gmail inbox. So this thing that I'm doing small like this, you can have like 300 rows of this depending on the software you are testing. So it's actually a lot. Actual results as expected, or if it fails. So this is where you narrate what happens. So when you click the login button, you gave this also error, you can copy the error and paste it here. Your status, whether I pass or whether I fail. This is your status. You can customize it. You can change the text color to green and fill to red. You can do and undo. It's your playing ground. So this is like example of a test case. So when you are done with this one, test case ID, you come to test case ID 2, put the test steps, the prerequisite. So all your tests, this might not have prerequisites. So or that you've defined the prerequisite up here. So you don't necessarily have to define the prerequisite here. Test data is already here. So when you do this, when you navigate to the inbox, when you click on view, you should be able to view the email as expected, pass or fail, like that, like that, like that. So I'm going to be sending some resources that we can use and practice and watch later on. So I think our time is going very fast. So let's head into the browser now. So any question again so far? Any question? All right. So I'm sharing my screen again. Hope you can see my screen.
We can.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So let's say you are giving gmail.com.ng as a web application to test. What's the first step? What's the first thing you will do as a tester? I want somebody to unmute and tell me. These are one of the things you do, scenario-based question that you will be asked during interview. You say, for let's say I give you this also software, how you go about testing it from end to end? What will happen? What's your test process? Yeah. Anybody want to answer that? Waiting.
We have to sign up first to the site.
Okay. Any other person?
Um, First
You
of all,
go to the web page.
that story to know what we're actually going to test.
Sorry, I didn't get you. You say first of all we do what?
Get the user story behind it so that we can know what we're actually testing.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's exactly what I was expecting. So because if you don't know what you are testing, what do you want to test for? What do you want to test against? Do you get? Like you have to know what the person that have this software in mind, what was in their mind, what were they trying to achieve? You have to know that before you can test that software. So that's like the first step. So it's after that you'll be able to generate and you digest that you'll be able to generate the test cases because you can't generate test cases for a software you don't know. It's not possible. So it's after you know that okay, this is Jumia and the primary purpose is e-commerce web application and users should be able to sign up, look for what they want to buy, let's say iPhone 15, add it to the cart, check out and pay. So for this software to be successful, as a user, you're able to order your stuff, pay for it successfully, no problem from end to end. You paid and they deliver to you as they say they will deliver in how many days they say they will deliver. So now let's say we want to buy what can I use? Okay, so let's say you want to start testing and you can start from this search scenario like what if I search for something? What will happen? Let's say I want to search for Oraimo power bank. Let's see. You can already see suggestions. So when I click search, what happened? Yeah, I can see Oraimo power bank. I can see different suggestions. The internet is still loading. Some of the images are not showing. So you have to be careful. Some of the things you report as bug too. Like you have to verify second time, check again, so that you not go and see it's a bug. And then they'll now say, okay, let's go through it and voila, it's not a bug. It was just probably network glitch or internet glitch or something. So that's for search. You write your test cases, like comprehensive test cases on search, the search results. Did you bring out the thing that you're expecting? What if I don't put power bank and I just see your Oraimo? What happens? Do you bring out Oraimo products, any products? What are you expecting? And what is the actual outcome? So now you are testing in a browser, right? So, and this is Google Chrome, for example. So what I click is still loading my, I don't know, internet or something. So you have some tools inside Google Chrome that can actually aid your test as a tester. You as a tester that you should know. So I'm going to be showing you some of these things. So as a tester, you'll be able to inspect in your browser. This is Google Chrome browser, right? So if you right click and click inspect, you can see it, right? When I right click, you can see this option that pop up. If somebody should let me know you can see it.
Yes, we can.
Okay, inspect. Or you can press Ctrl Shift I on your keyboard, I think. Is it Ctrl Shift I or Ctrl I? Ctrl Shift I. Okay. That works for me. I don't know about your own system. So you can drag this thing. You can test responsiveness of what you are testing by dragging this thing. When they say it's responsive, is it actually responsive? This is like a tablet size. You see, it fits perfectly on the screen. If I drag it back, yeah, it also works. Now, there are a lot of things here. A lot of things are going on behind the scene here. See, you can see this icon that I'm hovering on. You can see this. This is toggle device toolbar or something. So if you click on it, did you notice anything on the page? Did you notice something change? If I click on it again, you don't notice anything again. So if you toggle it on, you can now come to this dimension responsive and pick a device, a sample device. You can say, okay, oh, I want to simulate this Jumia this thing on iPad Pro. How will it look like on iPad Pro? And this is it from inside your browser. If I say this iPhone 14 Pro Max I'm holding, what will it look like? Can you see what I'm talking about? So that's that about that. We can close that. Now you can see these elements. If you click elements, what happens? You can see some things here. You can preview things and it will be showing you the elements, like what they actually wrote behind the scene to achieve this. So by the time you start doing your automation, you'll be using this a lot. A lot. So automation testing is beyond this training actually. This is a lot. So, but if you over on things, you can see that they are changing under that element. So you, even as manual testing procedures, you should be able to use Google Dev Tools. This is like Google Dev Tools. You should be able to come to the console and see things that what's going on here. You see, you can see fail to load resource. This. You will see a lot here. A lot. See, removing unpermitted and tracing. So even sometimes you have to tell your developers that they should remove some things that they log on the web application. You as a QA should know these things because an attacker can actually exploit all these things based on what